Good evening and welcome to Nightline Tonight. I'm Mary Sloan along with my daughter Toni Suchka, and we are so excited about our program tonight. We have a great guest on. His name is T.C. Stallings. Tell us a little bit about him, Toni.
Well, he's in a new movie coming out in March called My Brother's Keeper, and it's a really great movie with a lot of actors that I had seen growing up, and really cool cast. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about the movie. My Brother's Keeper shares a story of a returning war vet who is Travis Fox, and that is played by T.C. Stallings, who has one more battle to fight, which is PTSD. Fox and his best friend, Ron Preach is what they call him, because he loved to preach the word to his friends, played by Joey Lawrence. They're in their 6th combat deployment when Preach and his entire platoon is killed in battle. And the character of T.C. Stallings has to go home and kind of help prepare for the funeral of these men. But when he returns home, he's also having to take care of some things from his family because his mother and dad had passed away years previously. So in search for answers about his parents, he also discovers some new obstacles in PTSD. He finds support through a counselor. Her name is Tiffany Robertson, but she is played by Keisha Knight Pulliam from The Cosby Show. And he slowly begins to rediscover his faith in God. But he uncovers a secret, and he finds out a hidden secret that's from a friend of his. And this kind of takes him into a spiral. And he begins to question his faith, has lots of guilt, and he also does some things that are kind of unthinkable. And you think, gosh, you have so much to live for, but he's making choices like this because of the attack the enemies had on his mind.
Right.
So it's a great, great movie.
Right. I was very impressed after I started reading about all he's done, but I wanted to read a little bio on T.C. Stallings. T.C. Stallings, he's a former professional athlete. He's now finding success in film and television. After stunning football campaigns in high school and college, he went on to play professionally in the Arena, Europe, and Canadian leagues. Then his desire shifted to career in film and television. 2004, he landed a spot on Animal Planet's King of the Jungle. 2009, a successful Skype audition led him to the hit movie Courageous. I know we've all heard that. Then he headed to Hollywood and landed 2 commercials, followed by 3 more films. His career reached new heights in 2015 in The War Room. Big movie. He went on to land a nomination for Best Actor in the lead role in God's Compass. He also was the Best Supporting Role actor in Unbridled. And he tells a little bit about his company tonight called Clear Play. He'll share some stuff like that with us. He loves getting involved with different things around the world, and we are just excited to have him with us tonight.
Yes, I am, and I love that he's teaming up with companies like Clear Play to just really provide clean, wholesome, family-friendly movies. But we wanted to share with you the trailer to this movie so that you can get more familiar about the story and what's behind it. The writer, Ty Mann, the story's based on his father and kind of what he went through with PTSD as he experienced in the military. And so it's just a great story of how the Lord can take anything that we go through and bring healing. It may not always look like we want it to look like, but God is much bigger than a lot of the issues that we have in life. So we hope that you enjoy this trailer.
Hey everybody, I want to thank you for joining me for the release of the newest trailer for my latest film, My Brother's Keeper. I cannot wait for you to see this in theaters. This was by far the most challenging role that I've ever had to take on in my entire career. And it's mainly because of the issues that my character faces. And that's what I'm most excited about, sharing a message of hope for those who deal with the type of issues that this movie addresses and that my character faces. In this film, My Brother's Keeper, I play the role of Travis Fox, and he's a war hero. He's a soldier in the Army, and he deals with a complex multitude of issues. Probably the biggest one for him is PTSD. Causes him a lot of stress and anxiety, anger, resentment, and then he deals with his lack of faith in God. And he has a lot of reasons to have this lack of faith. He doesn't trust people very well. He doesn't give his heart right away when it comes to relationships. He struggles with forgiveness. He has to curb his anger and keep that in check. It's so many things that he deals with, all balled up into one heart and one head. And it's just, either you will identify with some of the issues as you deal with them yourself, or you will know someone who deals with at least one of the issues that Travis deals with, but he has to deal with them all. Now, I know there's a lot of different ways that people say you should deal with some of the issues that I just mentioned, but for those of us who have put our faith and trust in Jesus Christ, we know he is the answer. And so I'm excited that this film deals with that head on, but it deals with it in such a way that tells one key truth. It isn't always easy to trust Jesus. It isn't always easy to give your deepest, darkest problems to God and put it in his hands and get out of the way. In fact, some people never get there. Does my character get there? Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But you'll get a chance to find out when it hits theaters, and I can't wait. So you're about to see the trailer for My Brother's Keeper. Share this trailer, repost it. I want the whole world to know that there's a movie that comes out that addresses some really, really tough issues and gives real answers that everybody can use and benefit from. So without further ado, here is the newest trailer for my latest film, My Brother's Keeper. Enjoy it.
We knew where we were going. We knew we was getting ourselves into. We just didn't know what would happen to us when we came back.
What do we got? Coming down the road, sniper fire! No!
I came here tonight because I can't live with myself anymore.
What does that mean?
Priest used to always say, don't leave this earth without making sure your soul is ready. I don't know when I'm leaving this earth, but I know my soul ain't ready.
You've lost your faith in God.
Did you ever think maybe your God lost his faith in me? Why am I still alive and you not?
You're still alive because God has a plan for you. There's something important you still have to do.
There's nothing left for me, man. I'm all alone now.
You prayed to God for help and he answered. He brought her into your life to help you.
See, that's where you're wrong, brother.
Lord, I wanna see him someday.
If you love me the way Priest says you do, you got to show me. You got to show me right here, right now. There's a long road ahead for me to heal my soul, and I'm determined to find my way back to God.
Am I my brother's keeper?
Well, we hope you enjoyed that trailer. It gives you a sneak peek at what My Brother's Keeper will look like for you. It was a great movie, and we just want to welcome T.C. Stallings here with us today. Thank you for being with us.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Well, I wanted to ask you, what drew you to this story, My Brother's Keeper, and how did you get involved?
Well, it was. I'll start with how I got involved. I was doing A Question of Faith. For those who have seen that, I had a small role in A Question of Faith, and the writer of A Question of Faith, his name's Ty Mans, and he's also obviously in charge of My Brother's Keeper, writer and director of that. But we met at the crafty table where you just kind of have your snacks and everything, and we met in person, and we just started talking. He tells me that he wrote a role with me in mind, and that is always an honor when someone says that. We've never met. All he had done is seen me in some of my films and just said, I have this role, and he told me a little bit about it, but he said, at the end of the day, I'm putting it together, and I have you in mind for the lead role. I think you can pull it off. I'd like to send it to you in a couple of weeks. And so I'm flattered, and then for sure, he sends it. And then now what made me just go all in was I read this thing, and I said, this is the most challenging role. If I take this will be the most challenging role I've ever had in my entire life. And that is the type of role, at least for me, that as an actor, I want to go after. It's a huge opportunity to fail, but it's a big opportunity to succeed. Such a meaty and complex role. And so when I read that and then I looked at the message of the movie and how many people it can impact, I was just like, okay, I'm all in. I'll I definitely want to be a part of telling this story.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about the role?
Sure, sure. So I play um, Sergeant First Class Travis Fox, and just right off the bat, I had no military experience whatsoever. There was nobody that I know of in my family that was military. So when I read the script, I'm like, okay, this is going to require a lot of research because those guys and gals don't play in terms of representing them the right way. So that was important to me, and I was up for that challenge. I wanted to look like a soldier, make you believe that, hey, I just got out or I'm just going in, and so you have that, and then he's also dealing with a few things, and you see in the film that at the top of his problem chain, I like to call it, is PTSD, his faith, trust in others, forgiveness, just a lot of different things that a lot of different people in this world deal with, and that's why I'm like everybody in some way, shape, or form may see themselves in Travis, which is also exciting. So he is dealing with, his best friend gets killed, and you can see that much in the trailer, so I'm not giving much away, but he gets killed, and then I have to go home to bury him. And already I'm taking away with me that he was a very, very faithful person. He loved God, told me about him all the time. I wouldn't accept him because I didn't buy into that stuff. I hadn't had the greatest experiences with it. And then I see God take him away. If according to him, God's in control. I'm like, okay, he took my best friend. And I'm just like, God's taking away everything that I ever cared about. So why would I care about him? And then I go back home and you start to see some secrets come out that cause me to have to deal with those trust issues, relationship issues, and just you see him have to find a way to deal with all of this. And I love, now I'm going to let the film speak for itself. I'll let people see it to see how it all pans out. But this is his journey. You see him going a long road of recovery, a long road of healing, forgiveness, trust, and it all happens in about an hour and a half.
Well, you probably said something about the preparation, but would there be anything that you could tell us that you definitely had to prepare for this role?
Yeah, definitely. It was the military stuff and the PTSD stuff because I had no experience with either, and so to go to what I wanted to start with obviously was the look of the soldier, and so with Ty Mans being a military man himself. Everyone in his family is military, from his wife to his children, and he knows so many people. Talking to him obviously was a great resource. And then I got a chance to meet some soldiers in person, and one of them happened to be an amputee and had dealt with PTSD. So I kind of got everything all at once from talking with this soldier. And then there's this beautiful thing called YouTube where you could, Google so many different interviews and hear people talk about PTSD and military life. So it was hours and hours of that. And then you can only do so much of that because honestly, you started to get you go on YouTube for one thing and then you've watched 100 different things. That's how it is with this PTSD stuff. I started with one video and I just kept watching them over and over again, and they hurt you because these are real people. But it helped me to be able to know how I'm going to portray, so I won't overdo it or underdo it.
Well, when we were watching it, my husband and I said how difficult it must be to be in an atmosphere like that, and then everyone at home is just moving on with their normal life, and then you get home and it has to seem so different, and life just, people obviously don't get it that haven't been in that atmosphere. And I just thought, wow, it's probably so challenging to even on top of it experience the PTSD. And you did an amazing job at that role. You really did a great job
so
portraying that role. And I know you mentioned Ty Mans, the writer of this story, and the story was based on part of his father's background in military, but then also Ty was in military himself. So what were some of the notes or advice that he gave you from his personal background and his father's background?
Well, he told me that, a lot of, like, if we go back to, there's a scene where I am, you kind of see it a little bit from the trailer, but I'm up on a ladder and some people kept pressing him to kind of, come to the church, and he just got really, 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 really angry and upset about that. And he would tell me about how his father would get upset and have these moments and these outbursts. And he said, he told me that this is the tame version that people are going to be able to see. What I've written in the script is like his father really, really, would get angry and upset. And a lot of what you see in the film his dad had actually done, either to that degree or maybe even worse. And so I was able to just hear him talk about his father and how he dealt with it. But the main thing that Todd likes to say is that he walked into the doors of a church. Literally, there wasn't necessarily a plan, or it was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna walk in here to this church and just kind of just see what happens. And just kind of threw himself at it, and to change, his life around. And he wanted to be able to show that portrayal. And it wasn't an easy role for his dad. It wasn't an easy thing. And so I didn't want to make it appear that just like that everything was okay. We know God can't do that, but sometimes it works. It's a tougher road, and his father had a road like that. And so he would tell me things like that, and then he would tell me the little things that matter, like even certain things about how your hat would be turned, or how your uniform looked, and how you kind of stood, and how you saluted. And just obviously a guy who has been through it, it's a blessing to have him right there with you, so that you can be as authentic as possible. And he was with me every step of the way for stuff like that.
Well, I love what you said, is that it wasn't like one time and everything was better, because I mean, that goes, like you said, for a lot of people in life, is that we have a hard time, like especially going through something like PTSD. But I just love the way he portrayed that it wasn't easy, and there was a heart change that took place, but then there was some steps back that still happened, because there was a lot of
Sure.
anger that your character was dealing with. And so it really gave some insight to what someone like that would experience, kind of fighting in their own head. Because even I'll give away some of it, but even some of the dreams that your character had, just waking him up through the night, of just kind of reliving some of the torment. But I love the cast for the movie. It was a great group of people, and it kind of took me back. I saw Joey Lawrence, who I probably had a crush on when I was a little girl, watching him on some sitcoms. And then Keisha from The Cosby Show, she was the younger. So I just loved seeing all of, kind of bringing back some fond memories. But how was the chemistry working together with all of them?
Chemistry was great, and the same thing you felt, I felt, in a different way. I didn't have a crush on Joey Lawrence, but I did enjoy his work. And same with Keisha, same with Robert Richard and Greg Allen, and even with somebody like Shannon Fields, who she wasn't on the sitcom, but she was on Facing the Giants, which was one of the earlier, when I first started getting into watching Christian films. I was able to see Shannon Fields do her stuff. So just to be on set with all of them, it was cool for me, because back when I was a kid, growing up, I grew up with Rudy on the Cosby Show, and with Keisha and everybody, and watching them. And I'm at that time, I'm an athlete, so I want to be in NFL. I don't care about being a professional actor, so I'm not thinking to myself like, you know what, I want to meet them. I know there were a lot of young actors that were making those goals to meet all these people one day. Me, I want to be on a football field. But you see how the Lord shifts your passions as time goes on, and you end up doing what he calls you to do. And I'm sitting up here and I'm on set with everybody that I used to watch. And that just tickled me every time I think about it, that here I am with everybody that I used to watch on TV, never planning to meet them. And now, every scene I do, I pop to the next sitcom star. And now we're working. And so I just thought it was the coolest thing.
Well, do you think the church sometimes doesn't want to hear the stories on PTSD?
For me, I would have to say that I would have to be at, all these different churches to see how they handle it. I've never seen a situation where I've been at a church and they ran away from it, but I have seen, people, period, struggle with it. And I think everybody struggles with something that they may not be comfortable with.
Right.
And so, I don't have a personal experience with, where I would say, hey, church, just step your game up with, with taking care of people with PTSD. But what I will say is all churches need to be able to do kind of the example that I think the movie shows, which is you'll see, the pastor in the movie didn't have this big grand plan. All he did was listen and show love, and gave time. Let me hear you out. And he heard me out. And then he's like, okay, let's just take steps from there. And then now it's just like, let's just pray about what I need to do. So I would say, because PTSD is a kind of a world-known thing, I think all churches should be prepared. As with anything, the church should be prepared to address it. But don't run away from it if you're not, like, if you haven't studied the book on PTSD just yet, or how to deal with soldiers or anything just yet. Just give it time, give it prayer, and give it love, and listen. and let God do the work. You'll be able to help anybody, So that would be my advice to churches. Just be there for people and be a listening ear. Be ready to show love and pray to God for what to do, regardless of what issue comes your way.
That's good advice.
Yes.
What do you hope people would take away from this movie, My Brother's Keeper, after watching it?
I would say that first of all, I hope they enjoy the show, because at the end of the day, it's entertainment. When we choose to yes, we're choosing ministry, but we're choosing the medium of the vehicle of entertainment. So I hope that people say that was an excellent movie, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the ride that the characters took me on. Because this is entertainment, and then from something that you can take away. That's why I like movies like this, where you can take something, you can learn something, you can grow. I hope that people come away understanding that there is nothing too hard for God. We picked some really tough issues to deal with in this film, and we kind of hit them head on with the PTSD and lack of faith and lack of trust and lack of love and lack of forgiveness and all those things. And like I said, I think a lot of people will find themselves within this film somewhere, and you'll see for every situation, it's not too hard for God. And I even this beast of a disease called PTSD. I hope our veterans that are seeing that can say, if they say, I've tried everything, and I'm like, have you tried God? Have you literally just allowed the Lord to say, no, you're not going to open up the Bible and see the scripture about fixing PTSD, but you will see scripture about there's nothing too hard for God, and anything is possible for him that believes. So I hope that that's what comes out of this. And it's impactful to a lot of people, and not just soldiers, because PTSD is a disease that can affect anybody for different ways. You can have post-traumatic stress from anything.
Right.
So first and foremost, our soldiers, because we kind of made it with them in mind, but anybody who's ever dealt with PTSD, I hope that you can find some relief in this as well.
Well, it was amazing to me to sit and read all the movies you've been involved in. We could call them out by name right now, but what is next for you after this movie?
Well, I am. I'm excited to be doing. I try to get a good balance of that every single day, so that I can keep going when the Lord sends something my way. But I'm excited to be writing and producing and creating opportunities for other actors like myself who want to do work that isn't something that will dishonor the Lord. And like I said, when I say that, I don't mean it has to be faith-based or Christian work, but it should be clean work that any family can sit down and watch, that God himself can sit down and watch.
Right.
I want to be a part of creating that stuff. So I'm with, I've teamed up with PAX TV. It's new. You can check that out, by just going to pax-tv.com and just see what we're doing, and just pray for us as we create new content. It's brand new. It's part of the reason I'm here in Texas now. And I'm working with ClearPlay, which is a company that helps filter content on popular platforms like, HBO, Netflix, Amazon stuff. We're able to help you you can filter out the bad content and make the movie a little bit more family friendly or a television show. So I'm helping with them. I'm writing a book, which is my life story, and I'm excited about that. So I got my hand in a little bit of everything, I should say. And I'm making sure it's all purposeful. And obviously, I'm always looking for whatever the Lord wants me to do with the next film or television show. And so I'm just excited to just be busy for him, and so it all counts.
Well, that's all such exciting news. I love, my mom and I always love to hear when people are writing books. We're both going to write a book one day. We haven't yet, but it kind of overwhelms me a little bit. But I think you have just a great testimony of all that you've experienced. And I think it's awesome that you're partnering up with companies that, like you said, it doesn't have to be a faith-based show or movie, but something that encourages people and uplifts, because there's not many things that we can really watch these days that you can walk away from and feel encouraged. So I love that you're doing that with them. So if you have not already checked out some of these movies that he's been in, War Room, Unbridled, he's got several different, Courageous, you'll have to check those out. But This movie, My Brother's Keeper, is coming out in March of this year. And so
March 19th.
we're
Can't wait.
excited about that. I would love to ask you, just with your experience and learning more about PTSD, if you wouldn't mind just closing us out in prayer and just praying over our viewers that may be experiencing that or have family members that have.
Sure. Well, dear Lord, I just thank you that you are God and you are. There's nothing too hard for you. I thank you that you got a purpose for everybody's life. I thank you that you are the God, even the God of you're greater than PTSD. You're greater than the coronavirus. You're just greater than any of these things that we're dealing with, and none of it sneaks up on you. None of it is greater than you. And now I just pray that when these things strike any of us, that the first thing we know to do is to come to you and say, Lord, what is your purpose in all of this? Give me the strength to get through it. Give me the strength to glorify you within it. I pray that anyone suffering with PTSD or this coronavirus or anything similar to that is surrounded by people who know you, God, that can continue to point people towards you for relief, for peace, to be able to be strengthened to get through it so that when it's all said and done, you will be able to get glory through it all. I just pray for your purpose to be done, healing to be done on your timetable. I pray that we just don't get ahead of you and get impatient with you. I just pray that we just stay faithful so that others can see how we trust you with our health, with our strength, with our healing. And so, Lord, I just for anybody listening right now, I just pray that if they haven't talked to you, that you pierce their hearts. You come and you knock on their heart and let them know that you're there. And I just pray for a response. And then that something happens that allows you to get all the glory for it, and your will be done. You'll be glorified, and then even more people will come to you for healing, for comfort, and for peace. And we just none of us are worthy of it, but you just shower us with your grace and your mercy, and you're there for us. And it's the most encouraging part about life. And I pray that we just never ever can get enough of it, never get bored with it. And we're always sensitive to it, and we can respond to it by just praising you, obeying you, and saying thank you with our life and the way we live it. May your will be done in all things. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. And you guys check out the movie, My Brother's Keeper, coming out March 19th.
Yes.
And thank you so much for joining us.